several of the attendees are trying to talk. Okay. So let's just carry on here and let's talk about a few things here for 2019, okay? We came to the conclusion that our perfect daily schedule is vital, right? And we came to the agreement that of what the job is, and the job is making sure that we talk to enough people every day to meet our goals, okay? If we're hiding from that job or we're not getting the job done, then there's trouble ahead, okay? So the perfect daily schedule is vital, and the fact that we'd have to focus on our one thing, on what our job is each day, and we can't hide from that, right? So what I wanted to talk to you about, first of all, was accountability, okay? For the goals that you set, one of the reasons that people don't meet goals year in and year out is the avoidance of accountability, okay? And nobody likes it. It's not something that, it's not always comfortable. But if we're not accountable to someone, we're so much more likely to not hit our goals because we'll give ourselves permission not to, okay? So the important thing is that you have written goals and that you're willing to keep those in front of you every day. And you have to figure out what's important to you to move yourself forward in your business and your personal life, and who's going to hold you accountable to that. And it has to be someone, okay? Some people are on teams and their teams can hold them accountable. Some people are, they have coaches, they have real estate coaches. But you can really have anyone hold you accountable, And it's just basically, did you do it or did you not do it? And if you didn't do it, what are we going to do different next time to make sure that you get there? So as part of your business plan, make sure that you decide who's going to hold me accountable and to what things do I need to be held accountable. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about limiting beliefs. And this is a big deal, okay? Everyone has limiting beliefs of some sort, okay? Or as I like to call it, the drunk monkey, okay? And for those who don't know, the drunk monkey, what the drunk monkey is that little voice in your head that says stuff to you that comes out of nowhere. And, for example, I was on a listing appointment one time. And I'm sitting there and I'm having a conversation with the seller and I'm doing what I need to do. And all of a sudden I hear this. I don't like you. Where did that come from? We all have it, though. We all do this to ourselves all day long, right? It's that little nagging voice inside your head that's putting you down and telling you a story, right? So could some of you type into the box, or if you're having any trouble and you're on the phone and you can't do that, text me. Go ahead and text me what some limiting beliefs might be. They could be ones that have gone through your head, or perhaps, just ones, hypothetically, what might be some limiting beliefs? I'll start us out. I'll never change their mind. That's a great one. Yeah, that's a great one. I can't talk to strangers calmly. I have social anxiety. They don't like me. I can't do it. All of these things, a ton of other realtors are more experienced than I am. There's another one. I'm in a new market. How much can I really do realistically? I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm too fat. Mike's good looking. He's much better looking than I am. I can see why he gets all the business he gets, right? This goes on and on and on and on, okay? It's the way I grew up. I didn't get what I needed when I grew up. And you know, bad stuff happens to people, and really bad stuff happens to people. But is it really what happens to you, or is it the story that you're telling yourself? Any thoughts on that? It's it's the story you're telling yourself, right? It's the story that you're telling yourself about whatever that event happens to be. You know, there have been some tragic events in history that people have just endured horrible things in wartime. And you know, people have come out absolutely destroyed, and they've come out and just changed the world. And both people will say the same thing to you: how could I have been otherwise? So I wanted to share here. I'll get back to some of the goals. We'll come revisit that. Thank you very much for sharing that, Chelsea. Um, so everybody has these limiting beliefs and these voices in our heads that hold us back. Okay. The sad thing is they're not true. They're not. It's just a story that we tell each other. Okay. If you really want to move forward, you have to challenge your limiting beliefs. And if you didn't do what you didn't get where you wanted to go this last year, there's probably a reason why, and there's probably something holding you back. And I want to challenge you all because it's important. And this can be in your business life, or this can be in your personal life too. Ask yourself, write down, what just went through my head during that moment? What did I say to myself? What was the story that I was telling myself? Okay. All right. And so, just had another one come in here. Yeah. And again, you could tell yourself a story. I'm new. How could I do any business? A newer agent has chimed in. I feel like nobody has really cared that I'm new in the business. It hasn't turned anyone away. It actually kind of helped bond us because they're new to the area too. Great point. Awesome. Awesome. So the second thing that you need to do is find the core reason for those beliefs when you're looking at it. Okay. Um, I can't talk in front of large audiences, and the word I want you to put in there is because. Tell me what comes after because. Okay. I can't talk in front of large audiences because the audience are judging me in my every move. So what comes after because? There's the reason, there's the excuse, right? That you're going through. Understand that those beliefs are just not true. It's just a story that you change yourself. But you have to replace those beliefs with a more empowering one. Okay. And you have to arm yourself with empowering beliefs. Okay? Let's use that as an example. You can take, I can't speak in front of large audiences, and you can change that to, I'm comfortable speaking in front of large audiences, and I have excellent public speaking ability. Act as if you're comfortable already speaking in front of large audiences. And then when you get those wins, gather evidence to support your newfound beliefs, okay? When you get that listing, you did it, you know? It feels good. It really does, you know? And the more evidence that you get, the more confidence that you get moving forward. One of the questions that I get in coaching all the time is, when is that fear going to go away? Or that uncomfortable feeling I have? Like, a lot of people are uncomfortable on the phone, door knocking, whatever it might happen to be during lead generation. Almost everybody universally, people tell me I love prospecting. No, you don't. You do not, liar. Almost everybody feels uncomfortable in some way. But what I want you to do and what I want to challenge you to do is to be brave, okay? Be brave in 2019. Go out there and act anyway, okay? What's the worst that could happen, okay? What is the worst that could happen in that instance? Just go act anyway, okay? There is a phenomenal book that I think you all should read, and I've gotten a lot out of it. It's called Loving What Is by Byron Katie, okay? And what she does, what she does is she puts together, in working with people, the questions that you need to ask yourself to turn things around, like we just talked about, okay? When you have that thought go through your head, the very first thing, and I want you to please all write down these 4 questions. Number 1 is it true? Okay? Is it true? Second question is, can you absolutely know that it's true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? The third question is, how do you react and what happens when you believe that thought? Okay, and under that, how does that thought bring peace or stress into your life? What images do you see, past and future, and what sensations arise as you think that thought? What emotions arise? Do any obsessions or addictions begin to appear when you believe that thought? Alcohol, drugs, credit cards, food, television, phone, computer. And how do you treat people in the situation when you believe that thought? How do you treat other people, and also how do you treat yourself? Okay. And the fourth question is, who would you be without that thought? This is where the turnaround takes place. Turn things around. You know, don't live in judgment. You know, we all live in judgment of other people and what, you know, they should be doing. Okay. The only person that we should is ourselves, right? We shouldn't live in judgment of other people, but we all do it all day long, right? So go back to the original statement. For example, he shouldn't waste his time can be turned around to, I shouldn't waste my time, or I shouldn't waste his time and he should waste his time, right? So, because we're in control of ourselves, you know? The minute the phrase "you should" comes out of someone's mouth, it's trouble, because you're not living your life, you're living somebody else's life at that point, and we're living in judgment. So turn it around. You know, when you have those statements, ask yourself, is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? And then what all happens when you believe that thought? What happens in your head? What happens outwardly? What events transpire? And how do you think you treat people around you when you're believing whatever that story is? It becomes right. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy one way or the other. Right. And then when it happens, it goes back to justifying, see, I was right. My story was right. Right. They don't like me, even though I just yelled at them. And, you know, that's how these things go. Um, and who would you be without that thought? You know, so these things take work. I mean, they're not easy. This is not easy stuff. But I had a request from one of my coaching clients today who's really struggling with that, and I wanted to, that what I told him is I want him to know we all struggle with this. We all struggle with this all day long, and I would bet this is what's getting something here is getting in the way. There's something in the story, in the limiting belief, that thinking about it isn't necessarily the most comfortable thing in the world. But if we can get to it, we can make a difference, and we can make change, and we can make progress. And these are things, sometimes if you're working on it, these are things that you can work on for the rest of your life, right? But I guarantee you, if you ask yourself, when you have these limiting beliefs, and if you ask yourself those 4 questions, if you're willing to stop and ask yourself that, it will free you from a lot of the garbage in your life, right? And it'll free you to do what you need to do each and every day, and to focus on the right things, and to know that you're focused on the right things, right? So I hope that was helpful a little bit. These are things that have helped me, and that I certainly am really, really, really working on in a lot of different areas. But I can assure you, what you see on Facebook is not reality, right? Everyone's putting their best front forward. Everybody has challenges with limiting beliefs. They just do. Everybody has fear. Just act anyway. It's like I said. I want us to be courageous in 2019. I want us to be gritty. You know, we don't have to be great. We've got to be gritty. We just got to stick in there and do what we need to do day in and day out. And if we're gritty, we're going to get the job done. So we know what the job is, and we've looked a little bit about what's holding us back. Okay. So let's get into, this is quite a shift, but let's get into the numbers, okay? We're going to get into the numbers for goals here, for our goals. And I just wanted to share, Chelsea had said the answer to her 2019 goals is to go live 1 time per week on Facebook, post to social media 5 times per week, get more engaged with social media, share EXP with 1 person a week, time block to prospect at least an hour a day, follow up an hour a day, create my daily, weekly, and monthly schedule by January 1st, go on showing appointments 3 times a week, write 5 contracts per month, and start my kids in full-time school first of the year. Outstanding. Cool, Chelsea. Thank you so much for that. That is great. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to get into some math, and I know y'all love math. But I think what I want you to do in this process is to bear with me, because there's a conclusion that we're going to come through. So if you get lost on some of this, don't worry about it. I'd be happy to send you a copy of it or go over it with you again. We'll have a replay of the video to go over it again. But what's cool about this is we can start with how much money we want to make in 2019 and get it all the way back to how many appointments we need to go on. Okay? And there's a great conclusion at the end of this that I'm going to ask you what that is. But let's get started on that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Allison, can you see that okay? Awesome. Awesome. Cool. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through the numbers. And if you're like most real estate agents, this is the part where you go, ugh, math. Most of us, this isn't our strong point, okay? But we're going to get there. Hang in there with me. This is cool stuff. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to first go with our net income goal. How much money are we really going to make at the end of the year, okay? So a lot of what we're doing is going to assume that you're on a team, you're running a team, or you're a single agent, okay? However, the numbers, if you are on a team, the numbers are going to be very, very close to this. So, you know, I'll explain what that means in a second here. So let's just say we want to make 200,000. So that means what? We got to make about 205,000. Make 200? No, it's got to be a lot more than that. So if we want to make under the model that we have, okay, you're going to have 29.2% of cost of sale and 29.2% of operating expense in your business, okay? This figure over here is your profit. This is what's left over, okay? So those numbers equal 100%. So what you're going to do is you take this number and divide it by 0.16. It's $9.03. Okay. So I want to make $100,000. My gross income has to be almost 480. Okay. That would be if I was in budget and model. So the first thing we're going to look at cost of sale, and the first thing on the way to funding